Welcome to Cousin Jack Carves. So today we're going to do a little tutorial on carving one of these little Frankenstein gnomes. So these are very similar to the other itty-bitty carvings that I've done and tutorials that I've provided. And you'll see that there's a little difference here. These two guys here have this extra block of basswood that they are standing on. I figured Frankenstein's castle, so I gave it a sort of a gray brick color, like a castle, older castle. And these two have been antiqued. So I used an antique medium on them, and you can kind of tell the difference with the level of detail in the beards and so on. These two do not have an extra piece of basswood for the base, and they have not been antiqued. Now, of course, I also used different paints. On the two on the outside here, this top color for the hair is called Pavement, and the green is Shamrock Green. It was on top of a layer of this color, and that's the name brand. I don't call the name brand, but it's Granite Gray is the name of the color. So today we'll carve one of these little guys, probably one like this. By the way, you can also see here that there are different techniques that I've used to create the hair. So for example, this guy here, all of that hair is made with a wood burner. For this guy, this is carved by hand with a knife, this beard, as well as his hair. And then on this guy, we used a series of tools, gouges, and V-tools to create the texture for the hair, the beard, and the mustache. And if you're curious about this one, the beard is hand carved with a knife, and the hair on the back was made with a wood burner. Alright, so to get started today, we're going to use a piece of basswood, and I've got this 1-inch block. It's 1 inch square, and I've measured 2 1/4 inches. So from this mark up is 2 1/4 inches. You can see I've put a center line on each side of the block, and I also created a center mark here on the top by drawing an X from corner to corner, so we know where that center is. Now I've decided to make this the front of the gnome, and I've measured up from the bottom 1 inch, and I've made this mark right here. Then on the opposite side, over on the back, I've come up from the bottom 1/2 inch and made a mark, and then up from the bottom 1 full inch and made a mark here. And these will help you get started on the way for this whittling tutorial. Now, this first mark that I made is going to be where the nose, the center of the nose, will be. So I want to come above that and start drawing a circular shape. And I like to use a shape that's larger than the finished nose is going to be, because we can always take some wood away. And now you see where we have that line going across the center line. I'm going to come out to this side to about here, which is kind of equivalent with where that is, and same thing over here. I'm going to draw the brim of the hat sloping down to that spot. So now we have kind of created this sloping movement for the brim. Okay. Next, I'm coming onto the back side where I made that mark 1 inch up from the bottom. Just going to draw a line going across there, and then also where we have that 1/2 inch line. Now this is going to be the bottom of the hat right here. This will be hair, and this is going to be the bottom edge of that hair. I'm going to come over onto this side and carry that line over, and then do the same here. And then I just want to go where we have that mark on the front, carry that over, and then just sort of draw a line to connect. Now you don't have to be exact with this, right? It's kind of a droopy hat. You can even make it slope if you wanted to. So there we have a pencil line for the bottom of the hat. Now with this hair, we have this line on the back. I'm going to carry that over like this. let's put in some marks for the shoes. So I've gone in here and measured up from the bottom 1/4 inch on each side. So I have a mark at 1/4 inch. Now I'm going to measure in towards the center line 1/4 inch, and I'll make a mark for each of these shoes. So it's more or less a 1-inch square. I'm sorry, 1/4 inch square. So we're up from the bottom 1/4 inch, we're in 1/4 inch. And we're just going to finish by drawing that edge of the square, like that. Now, to finish those shoes, we're going to take that line where it brings it over here, and then you see that center line, we're just going to slope down to it like this. And that's going to give us this look with the shoe. Alright, we'll do that on the other side as well, right? Go from the top of the shoe and slope that down just like that. And now for the hair. What I'm going to do is, I've got this center line. I'm going to come behind that center line by about 1/8 of an inch right here. Here's the front of my shoe. I'm going to come back about 1/8 of an inch like that. Now I'm just going to draw a line to connect those. This is going to be where the beard will be. Then, where that line intersects that center line, I'm going to draw a mark to connect for the hair. This is going to be this part right here. So we've got the beard and the hair. We'll do that on both sides. So again, coming behind that center line about 1/8, from the front of the shoe back about 1/8, and just bringing that down like this. And then where we have this line on the back, we're going to draw a mark for the hair. And that's our start. Up next, we'll be carving. So today I've got a couple of different tools lined up to use. One of them will be my Stanley utility knife, also known as a box cutter. And this particular Stanley has a Lenox Gold razor blade in it. So what we'll do to get us kind of started here, we'll come underneath the brim of that hat right here. Just kind of come in at a little angle. And then from above that shoe, I'm just going to remove that slice for the corner. Same thing over here, come above the shoe. And then on the back side, we'll just make a mark. Come from the bottom of the hair, like that. And same thing on this side. This is going to be establishing the bottom of the hat. Now I'm just going to come across that line like this. Put in a stop cut, give the knife a little wiggle, and slice up to it. Again, establishing the bottom of the hat. And then over here on the side, we'll take a little bit more rounding. We're going to be shaping this face and beard. Get rid of that corner. And while we're here, let's go ahead and come up next to the nose, right next to it. I'm going to do a little triangle cut, put the point of that blade in and draw my knife down a little bit. And then come from this side over here, point of the blade in there, and then just rock the knife like that. And we'll come in here and get some depth. This is going to bring out that nose, while also establishing the brim of the hat here on the front. Now I just made a stop cut under that nose because I don't want to inadvertently forget and remove material for that nose that I will need. So I've got that stop cut there to protect it. Alright, we'll do another triangle cut on the other side of the nose. Put the point of that knife in, like so. And then, same thing from this angle. There we go. And I have to do this one upside down because I'm a lefty. Alright. So we're starting to get some shape there on the front. We'll take some more material here to get that corner pushed back, make it more rounded. Yeah. And we're just starting to basically rough this out, okay? That's an important step. So up next, we'll come to this side and just make a stop cut along the bottom of that hat brim, like this, and slice to it, and we'll come over here on the opposite side, do the same thing. Now, although I've removed my pencil line, I know where I've got to go because I made that mark on the hat. So I'm going to put in a stop cut here, and this is going to be where we have that beard, okay? And then we have the hair, which is going to be right there. I'm going to rock my knife when I get to that corner. So we've got ourselves a little triangle going right here, and I also want to remove a little slice right there to indicate this hair is kind of tucked under that beard. Alright? And we also have another triangle right down here at the bottom where the beard connects at the shoe. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a stop cut for that shoe. And we'll start removing some material from this side of the gnome. Getting some depth. And this is how we can start to bring out the hair and the beard and the shoe as well. Now, if you've never seen any of my videos where I carved what I call the itty billy, this might all be new to you. However, if you've seen some of my previous tutorials, you may be familiar with this process, this part of the shaping, because there's a basic foundational shape to these itty billies, and this is how they start. The difference, of course, between them is very often the hat. In this case, I was inspired to go ahead and get something ready for Halloween because it's right around the corner, so to speak, although it's August. I heard someone say the other day that they were celebrating, I guess, Summerween because it's still summer, and there's already pumpkin spice lattes hitting the stores. All right, over here, we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. Stop cut for the beard. And then for the hair. And the shoe. I'll be turning this one upside down. come down here and take out this triangle. I like to make these sides pretty flat. It's a little hint of a flat plane look to these little itty bitties. Alright, so we've got some depth happening on each side. And let's go ahead while we're here. Kind of set that edge for the hair to tuck underneath the beard. Yeah. Okay, on the back, we've got the bottom of the hat. Let's establish the bottom of the hair. And to do that, we'll just come across here with our blade, get a stop cut going, and slice up to it. Then I'm just going to take some more of this material. And then while I'm here, I'm going to do some shaping on this hair. I'm going to remove some more from that corner. And here on the side, more shaping. Bring that hair down a little bit so that it's really tucking down into that area where the beard is. And we'll do a little bit more on this side as well. Got a little ragged edge here I want to get rid of. Now I've noticed that this side of the hair is further down. It's longer. Looks like a self-inflicted haircut to me, but anyway, we'll fix that up. We'll give him a little trim. There we go. Okay, let's work on these shoes now. So I'll come over here and work on his right shoe, our left if we're looking at it, right? Carve one of these shoes at a time and finish it before you move on to the next one. Because if you start bouncing back and forth, before you know it, you're trying to make them the same size and you've got no shoe left. So start on one side, finish that side before you move over to the next, okay? So to start, I'm going to come up here to the top of the shoe on the corner and just give some pressure like that. I'm going to take an angled cut at the beard. And this beard is going to curve around that shoe, okay? Now I want to have a stop cut for this edge of the shoe, like that. And while I'm here, I'm going to make a little triangle cut. And take out this corner, just to get some depth between the beard and the shoe, okay? And then make a little slice here. Again, getting some separation. By the time we're done, the beard will look very different, yeah. Now, to carve this shoe, we're going to knock off these corners, these edges, right? Round it some. Kind of push it back a little bit. And then near the top of that shoe, I'm just going to take a few slices to push it back. And again, do some rounding there. And then I'm going to work on the side of this shoe. I'm just going to come along that edge. Again, this will help to round it a little bit at the top. And take off the bandsaw marks along the side. And now just creating a little more separation between this side and the top of that shoe. So we can bring out that shape. Okay? Okay, so we're at a pretty good place here on this side. Those are a little fuzzy right here. So a little bit more shaping here on the front of the shoe. And then I'll move over to the other side. Okay, we're going to work on that beard later, but for now, I think I'm happy with the look of that shoe. I'm going to come over here to this side and go through that same process. Okay, so we have our shoes roughed out. Now we'll go ahead and do some more work on the shape of this beard. We want to definitely round this some more. Alright. And also, while I'm here, I want to get a little more depth on this side where the hair tucks in underneath that beard. Okay. Okay, so like I said, just going to start doing some rounding here on the front. Removing material around the edges of the beard, pushing it back on each side. And we'll have more of that V shape that a human face would have. You can see here's our profile. I also like to kind of look down the front of the carving when I'm doing this part. So looking down the front so I can tell whether that beard is high on one side or needs to be removed, maybe more material from one side or another. And I definitely want to remove the bandsaw marks too. You can see a little high spot right there that I'll definitely need to address. Alright, so let's get after that high spot there. Remove some of that material. I'm going to switch over to my flex cut detail knife. It's going to be able to get in here a little easier. Okay. And let's go ahead and remove some more material around that nose. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the depth around the top of that nose. I do want to get some more depth around the bottom of the nose. So just here. Okay, so now when we're carving this nose, what we want to do is have just a little bit of separation at the top where the brim of the hat is going to be meeting the nose. So we'll have a little stop cut kind of curving around the top of the nose like this. And we'll remove just a little bit of wood. just to get a shadow, right? That's what we're looking for. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and start shaping our hat. Now these hats are fairly straightforward. They're more or less rectangular shape, you know, but we'll put in a little bit of a movement at the bottom of it after a little while. Let's go ahead and take off these corners. And then do some rounding on the hat. So we've got some pretty good rounding happening there already. Yeah. Let's go ahead and round over the top of the head, okay? Now before I do that, I want to make a little reference mark. I know I have a center line on that nose still. I just want to carry that up here, and then from the top, I know it was right there. Just a reference for me to move forward. So to round over that top, I'm just going to come up here and start angling my blade, taking these cuts. I'm saying maybe 1/8 of an inch from the top. I'm angling like this. See how that looks so far. It's coming along. Now I can see that this grain is running across this way. So I can just come up here on top, start cleaning up some of this end grain. And we're getting rid of the bandsaw marks, right? Rounding that over a little bit there. Now I'm going to work on the bottom of the hat. I'm going to push this brim down some, bring it back a little. See how I've pushed it back, just like that? Same thing on the other side. You can see the profile look there. And up next, I want to come in here, just give it a little scooping cut. I'm turning the blade like this. Now, what this will do, it's going to create just a little lip. You see that little lip right there? Around the bottom? Just a little motion, a little curvature. A little point of interest for the eye. So you can see already it's kind of forming that little shape. I'm going to carry that over onto the sides and the back. Now this flex cut detail knife will be even better at rolling. If the blade is narrow, I can roll it more easily. Okay. It's one of the limitations of the Stanley. It has a very wide blade profile on it. It's not the best at this kind of a scooping cut. I'm at the point now where I want to come to the bottom of that brim, start sort of forming the shape for the bottom. To do that, I'm going to angle my cut and push down like that. Got a sharp corner here I want to get rid of. And again, I've got one side of the hat that's further down than the other, so I'm going to kind of fix that. Even that out a little bit. Yeah, that's looking better already. Okay, good deal. Let's go ahead and form this nose. So I'll start by getting a little more separation at the top. Start pushing that nose back underneath that hat. These are small cuts because I don't want to remove a lot of material here. Really just trying to deepen that shadow. And in this case, I'm going to fix this brim so that it's further down. Yeah. Start removing corners off the nose. And continue with the rounding. I'm going to start rounding the sides. And of course the bottom too. Okay, so now I'm going to come back here and get that curl back in there that we had before. Just using that scooping cut again. So we have a pretty good roughed out shape here. You can take a look at the front. We have our hat, shoes, the beard is shaped, and so is the nose. On the sides you can see the separation for the beard and the hair, back of the hair and everything. And so that's a pretty good roughed out shape. up next in part 2, I'm going to show you how to finish the rest of this gnome. We'll put in the hair, mustache, the beard, and I'll show you how I made these little bolts that went into the side of the hat. And of course it needs the stitches too, right? Okay, so we'll cover that up in the next segment. Thanks for being with me today. See you next time.